All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's having a great Tuesday so far, staying healthy, staying safe. Homes here, and with me today I have Patrick Ascolese, the owner and the operator of the Ascolese Law Group right here in Hoboken, New Jersey. And Pat was nice enough to come on today to give us a little idea of what's going on in the legal side and the transactional side of the real estate world. As we all know, things have been quite different the past few weeks, but maybe not as different as we fully think. So, Pat, thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us here today to fill us in on what's going on from your standpoint.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, wanted to talk a little bit first. We were kind of going over before we got started here. What is just the overall environment like from your point of view? What are you seeing day to day, transactionally, and kind of logistically as far as how things are getting done on transactions that are currently already in attorney review or a contract?
So nothing that's happening is impacting attorney review, really. All brand new transactions that are coming in, going into contract right now, attorneys are working. It's fortunately a profession that we can do from pretty much anywhere. So delays in terms of getting into and out of attorney review are virtually non-existent. Now, a lot of people are working from home. Maybe they have some draws on their time that they wouldn't typically have, but we're not held up indefinitely on anything on the attorney review front. In terms of all of the logistics that follow once we're out of attorney review, things are a little bit more flexible than they used to be. And we're building in terminology to contract terms and rider terms to account for that. People are still getting home inspections done on the ordinary timeline, but in the event that there is some unexpected delay, unavailability of a home inspector, or conflicting timelines with respect to getting buyers in when maybe sellers don't want to be there, that type of thing. We've built in buffers. Everyone who's in the industry understands that, we have some complications that we've never had before, but there are workarounds for everything at this point.
Yeah, I think we've seen that a couple times in transactions that we have right now where inspectors don't want to go in with an agent, and then the seller has to provide access, and kind of like trying to work those things out are taking some more time. So there's definitely been some flexibility. Are you seeing new contracts that are coming in have flexibility guidelines kind of written in already that we're all just to kind of solidify that and kind of make it make sense on paper that we're all in this environment, or is it kind of just an understanding of what all parties are having?
I haven't seen it come in on like the NJR contract yet. It's not showing up in the additional provisions, but everyone anticipates that it's going to be taken care of in the rider. Like, to the extent that agents want to add something that says basic, something to just alert everyone to the fact that we are going to have to deal with this for the time being. If there were something in the additional provisions, I think it's paragraph 43, subject to amendment for COVID timelines, things of that sort, so that there's no confusion between the buyers and the sellers. That everyone's aware that this is something that we're going to have to account for.
Gotcha. Awesome. And what if in a situation, I've had a couple people ask me, what if I go under contract or my closing date rolls around and I can't get access to the property? Have you had that come up yet? Like, let's say a building shuts down, move-ins, or whatever the case may be. What does that look like? Is it just like another push of a timeline, and all parties have to kind of collaborate to figure out the solution?
Yeah, there haven't been many things that have resulted in people taking very hardline positions on this. I think everyone is kind of cognizant of the fact that this is going to impact everyone on some level, and people have been working with each other. I have not yet had an issue, and this ranges from some of the new buildings uptown to 3 and 4 unit buildings in Jersey City and Hoboken, where people have been able to move in. There hasn't been any type of issue getting a mover or getting clearance to move into buildings. I do know that movers themselves are doing things that they haven't otherwise done. I think they're cutting down the number of people, which is a key issue that we're dealing with right now. Like you mentioned, home inspections. A lot of buyers aren't going to home inspections. They're getting FaceTime from the home inspector. You can see everything, in real time, as if you were standing there, and you get the benefit of the commentary, but without having to have 3 or 4 people in a room where you could have one.
Absolutely. And I actually had an inspector on a few days ago, and he said, first thing that happens is you get into a little tight, cramped bathroom, and then both buyers and their mom and their aunt and everybody wants to cram into that same bathroom to see the leak that's underneath the sink. And it's probably the least social distancing thing that we could possibly do right now is do home inspections together and closings, things like that as well, that everyone's in one room together, which is something I wanted to jump into too for you. What's going on closing logistics? I know I've been hearing things about mobile notaries. I've been hearing things about literally someone told me that a buyer had paper slipped through the window of their car that was cracked an inch open last week. So I know things are still getting done. Things are still closing. We had one today as our team. We had a mobile notary show up at someone's house, then a courier brought that package to the sellers. And it's just, it's been a back and like a ever changing environment, but just curious to see what you're seeing on that point and how are things getting closed.
So title companies have been really accommodating on that front. We can do anything that makes the buyer comfortable, right? So sellers, thankfully in New Jersey, only tangentially involved in a closing. Right. Even under normal circumstances, they're FedExing paperwork and keys and that type of thing. They're not actually attending. Most of the title companies, well, every title company at this point, is offering whatever options you think are going to make the buyer most comfortable, from the attorney signing as power of attorney, which would effectively mean the attorney's in the room alone signing the closing package as standing in the shoes of the buyer, to title companies sending over the package via email. We can print them out at our office and have just the buyer here, so that now we're limited to like the attorney and one buyer or two. Or like you said, with mobile notaries, people will show up, wait outside, just to hand deliver the actual hard copy of the package. Everyone signs it, and then it's delivered back to the notary to take it away. It really is it's wide open in terms of what everyone's going to be comfortable with.
A case by case, kind of just like patch it together. It makes sense for everybody in that given situation. Awesome.
Yeah, and look, there's no circumstance under which you're going to tell someone you have to come into a room with more people than you're comfortable with, right? Especially when we do have those options available.
Absolutely. And I know other states have been doing things a little bit more virtually and a little bit more remote than New Jersey has done the past two. So I think there's some precedent. There's some people doing it already out there, right? So it's a matter of just adapting to some of these new technologies from the closing standpoint. Some e-signatures, some different things like that. Which technology is there? It's just a matter of it getting, I think, passed through some legislature or policy. It
can be done. In New Jersey's notary rules are a little bit stricter than some others. What I have also seen is there are some lenders who are shifting a good chunk of their closing package to e-sign prior to the closing.
Okay.
And so instead of having the buyer show up and sign 150 pages worth of documents over a half hour, it's 30 pages and it takes 15 minutes.
Nice. That's definitely the way I think we're going anyway as an industry, which I think this is just speeding a lot of that up, speeding a lot of change up into the virtual world as well. So awesome. Very cool. So last question from me is just what should, I'm a buyer or seller, and, I'm either getting ready to do something when this whole, maybe seeing properties and virtual showings and how things are going to interact, but we still going to have a different world, I think, for the next 30, 60, 90 days. What should people be considering from a legal aspect to make sure they're protected, to make sure that things are going to work smoothly? Is there any advice that's different today? Sorry, we got my, everyone's working from home these days. Just another dog, relax. I'm going to ask the rest of my question. I'm going to mute. What should people be thinking about differently today that maybe they weren't just 30 days ago?
Extended timelines, honestly, is the biggest thing. Flexibility in terms of timing. And if it turns out that there's something that you need to do, you can't get in for a home inspection, you can't schedule a closing, you can't get your mortgage commitment. No, nothing is surprising at the moment. There's nothing that we can't allocate for if we need to. So if something comes up and for whatever reason you're not able to access records that you need to get your mortgage commitment, just tell your attorney, tell your lender. A lot of the people in this area know each other really well. We do a lot of work together. If I get a call from a lender who I know that says, I'm held up on this commitment because I can't get a 2018 tax return because it's in a storage space that we can't get into, the accountant's not working from their office, that type of thing. Nothing is the end of the world in this respect. It's a process, and there are workarounds for just about everything.
So it's almost expect the unexpected, keep a lot of communication, right? And just be prepared to be flexible is kind of almost like the thought process, the overlying things that we're seeing. And I think that goes for almost every part of the transaction these days, is just be prepared to be flexible, have a lot of communication. and just to, know that some unexpected stuff can come up. But having you in our corner with a lot of our clients is very helpful. We appreciate that, Pat. We're gonna link to Pat's website and your contact information right in here in the comments. If you are looking for a good attorney for buying or selling something soon, Pat is the guy to go to, especially in Hoboken and Hudson County. And I think you do some work outside Hudson County as well, correct? Or
yeah,
you do?
Yeah, Bergen, Essex as well.
We're all Hudson, so that's where I know you're from. But Pat, we'll go to other places outside of this little tiny pocket of Hoboken where we're do all of our business. So guys, reach out to us if you need anything. Hope everyone stays healthy and safe. And Pat, we appreciate you being with us today and giving us a little insight to what's going on the legal side.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Pat.
Have a good one.
You too.